Serious Sam's always been a titan for me. It is a series of games that started back when all you needed for a good title was a barrel plaster of the camera arms, chest and some one-liners, and as long as that location came in hot and heavy and it was solid in its controls, a game could be well for itself. Also, Serious Sam eclipsed many times other modern dystopias or gritty dirty metal crunches of the Dooms and the Quakes and Atmosphere, and instead said, you know what dudes, let's put this. Since in Egypt you face off against Mental and his manager of bad guys, and guys is plural for a reason. Serious Sam's second claim to fame was the number of bad guys, all trying to see what would happen if 2000 clones got in the same car, and in this case, of course, clones are headless dudes with bombs for hands, and you are the car. It worked for Serious Sam, in particular for Serious M2 as well. Somewhat for Serious Sam 3, so by the time a little bit of trust was showing on that polish, and as the decades have gone by, we are now at Serious Sam 4. As always, if you like this kind of videos, give it a thumbs up, maybe subscribe, it absolutely helps. What follows are my impressions and current score for Serious Sam 4. You can call it a review in progress, but my progress has been stymied by a ton of things we are going to discuss today, because where the past titles had a tenacity to their patterns and a talent in their balance, Serious Sam 4 just does not feel like it has any of that. And where do I begin? So first, let's talk about the enemies. The enemies of Serious Sam's games didn't always or most ever make sense. You have Alien 2 armored monster cities walking around, yanking the pyramids and shooting lasers at you while you somehow reverse the S and V keys on your keyboard as you restarted while shooting forward, running backwards and to the side at the same time. It was nudes. It was that chaos that worked so well. It was brutal, it was fun, and those enemies always had an electric feel to him. Enemies flying and dying, you juking and moving and shooting and sliding, and always knowing one thing: the enemies were in great number, but they could not hit. The accuracy made the 99 meters and XCOM look like critical hits, and the game's greatness was that the enemies were making storm waters look like marine snipers all the time, while it also made you feel like a badass that was the right barely meeting enemies, and much of this was due to those unequal looks and their designs and how they were packed together. Here is the Serious Sam 4. You do have a couple different varieties of enemies, like vampires that send spirits at you and then transport by running into flocks of bats landing on top of various bits of the architecture and then fighting away. This is nice, and those guys feel awesome, especially with a shotgun as you burn them up into separate bits of ash and fire when you kill them, but nothing comes close to the original Syrian wearable, which is something that you face off multiple times here. No new designs feel nearly as good as the classics. This is also stymied from start to finish by level design. That is basic. Even by Serious Sam's basic level design structure, the Serious games have never been into complex architecture, and that's fine, because the excellence was the balance between balls of the wall shooting and backpedaling tomfooleries. You counted out homie did not hit a wall behind you before a bad guy died in front of you. There was an amazing ballet that occurred here where you sit stab, chain whip balls and lasers, and which from shotguns to kill the skeletons to the machine guns to kill the headless. And imagine my disappointment when here in Serious Sam 4 that almost never feels as sleek. The level design is just one square leading to a larger square that has you running in just deep enough so that it can boom spawn enemies. Many of these areas feel smaller and even less flexible than prior Sam titles. That's a mix of both the location as well as the architecture itself. Everything is built on box-like patterns, which is something that we have seen in the prior games, but there it does not feel old school as much as it feels old. It is backed up by some pretty solid shooting that's for sure serious Sam games. Have never really had an issue with that, but even that gets a bit long in the tooth when you are fighting some boring as boss creature who apparently is just throwing tires and cans at you, as the main bad guy and some fire is around you. The main bosses just are not interesting, which means an uninteresting battle is ended by an uninteresting boss and an uninteresting battlefield. So, thanks for watching, subscribe to my channel and wait my next video. Goodbye.